which sucks because he
Bam,
was
we're
so
live.
responsive.
Where are you?
I'm in Temecula. This lighting's terrible. Oh, that's worse. It feels so weird, but not having all the controls.
I'm multitasking. I was asking my gardener, how come one of the lawns is like so massive at my house? And he said they didn't mow it because it was raining.
Mm,
I wasn't in town, so I didn't know it was raining. Wow, this guy Alexis is gnarly.
yeah, stuff is crazy.
Crazy. I'm gonna show. Oh, okay. Here, I'll peruse his Instagram while we wait for him. What are you doing right now? You going to a wedding?
No, we're going to like the brunch afterwards. I'm just kind of hanging out for a minute until the ladies are ready.
All right, you can ditch me whenever. Okay, so this guy is what they call an urban climber. Austin, Martin, Ryan, what's up, guys? Urban climber. Sevon, do you have a half pipe in your backyard? Dad core. Yeah, I do. I don't ride it though. I walk around on it. I use a leaf blower on it. Alexis Landot from France is coming on any minute now. So he says we rescheduled this 3 times. And I am pretty pumped. I wonder how many of these guys there are in the world. He's only been doing it 2 years too.
That's crazy. Does he get arrested every time?
I was reading an interview he did, and it sounds like the police are pretty cool with him. I was having trouble. It was there's an interview with him on Medium. You know that platform?
No.
And it's
Never heard
like
of that
some
platform.
self-publishing platform. And so it's a self-publishing platform, and it looks like they translated the interview with him from France to English. And so some of the words I wasn't sure, but I think what it sounded like is that you could get a fine up to 1 year or 15,000 euros. But it sounds like everyone's really, really cool with him. And the reason why is he says it's because he's not endangering other people. He's only endangering himself. But dude, if he fell from there,
That's what I was going to make the argument, that if he falls off and hits somebody,
they're toast.
yeah. But I would imagine that once he starts to climb, there's probably a crowd of people that like are watching him. I mean, how often do you walk by a building and look up and just see 2 dudes climbing the side of it?
It's funny you say that. I had no idea about this until about an hour ago. I was reading another article about him, and you're right. There are people who, we saw in these videos that you and I were looking at one time together. There's people from the inside of the building for sure looking at him. Like, so
Yeah.
there's people like in the office building, and then they see the dude show up. But it says he went to Ukraine on March 7th, and the war there started on February 24th. So he went to the Ukraine on March 7th after the war had started, and he climbed a building there that was 700 feet tall. And 200 people came out to watch him.
That's crazy.
Don't stand there, just in case.
Please give a little room.
Could you imagine that? That sounds so painful, to die from another dude fucking hitting you.
There's zero mistakes.
Zero.
Like you don't kind of slip, and what happens if you slip? You catch yourself on what?
He says the reason he does this is because it's his way of taking control of his life. And then I read a little deeper, and it says that he has this fear of his loved ones dying. So it's this kind of fear that he lives with. He always is afraid like his mom or sister or his dad's going to die like in a car accident or something. So he does this stuff to sort of feel like he's in control of his life. But I mean, this has got to scare the shit out of his parents.
Dude, it scares me. My palms are sweaty right now just watching it on the small screen.
Susan's retrieving avocados from Sevon's backyard. Yeah. And hey, that's the shirt I make him wear, but he's wearing no pants and underwear. So me and my wife go in the backyard and sip margaritas and just watch Susan climb trees naked. Yeah.
I think there's gonna be some comments about the polo for sure.
Well, it's just so it's just so rare to see you in it. So it's like almost like a costume. You know what I mean? It's like my beard.
I was thinking about doing a suit for the Alex Stein later today.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. If I had to die from a dude falling on me, I'd want it to be the CEO. You're a good dude. You're a good dude. I'd want you to be laying on your stomach and I fall directly on you with the hard on. Bam. Just slip into you like a puzzle. Not exactly what you wanted, Martin, but since you opened the door. Matt in his Sunday's best looking cute as fuck. I agree. Yeah, you were at a wedding last night?
Yeah.
Cool. I missed you on the live call-in show.
Fancy one. I know.
Great.
I want to be on it. I peeked in real quick because I always do to make sure that they're like going off. I don't know, as if I could do anything. But was that Gary Roberts on it?
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, how about that? I sent him a link and he just called in.
That's really cool. That's cool.
Yeah, when I see those shots from the GoPros, I don't know why, but I have trouble like separating myself from the footage at that point, and I start to feel a little queasy. Like that shot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's funny because I bought this drone a while back, to like get some video shots. And like I'm thinking you said he's climbed a building that was 700 feet in Ukraine. And I'm thinking about just when I fly my drone like 200 feet, my hands get sweaty. And I'm like, oh, we got to bring it back down.
Yeah.
It's too high. It's spiraling out of control. Oh, he's yoked too.
Yeah. He had some he was saying some interesting stuff too, that you can climb with it looks like he did some ninja challenge shit. He's basically saying you can climb with bloody fingers, but you can't climb once your fingers start to lose mobility.
Wow.
So, because then shit gets dangerous. And I understand that, right? Like if your knuckles start to get stiff and whatnot. But isn't blood really slippery? Like you hear about that in the UFC?
For sure. I didn't realize how those windows and stuff went in, because if you watch him climbing, I mean, obviously he has to pick his buildings. So that'd be an interesting question. Like, how does he pick the building? But I imagine, like, if you look inside, he's like sliding his hand like in between the crevice of the buildings and the windows and stuff.
And that's how rock climbers do it though too, right?
Yeah, into the crevices. Did you watch that movie Free Solo? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think I did. That's the Honnold movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that. I think I saw that in the theater with Dave. Dave and I when Dave and I hang out in person, we don't talk. It's so weird. But when we're on the phone, we talk like fucking two little fucking 12-year-old girls. Even when I go to his house, like I could go to his house like once every 4 months for like, 4 or 5 hours. My kids will be swimming in his pool and we won't talk. When I saw him in Colorado, I was like, hey dude, even if we're sitting next to each other, we should just talk through the phone. And he actually is like, yeah, probably we would talk more.
That's funny. I just kind of like zoned out for a minute thinking about you and Dave walking into a movie together. That just seems like a foreign scene to me.
Yeah. I never know if I'm with one of those dudes who needs to put a seat in between the other dude. So this guy looks like it says, this is in France, so I can't read it, but I'm guessing that dude and all the colored shit, that's like the OG. There's a guy he says he looks up to name Adam. What was that guy's name? Let's see if I can see it. There's some guy in France who's Alan Roberts. They spell Alan Alain. And he's considered the French Spider-Man. I'm guessing that's him. Look at that dude's fingers. Oh, they're all taped up.
Oh, yeah.
I think that picture we saw of him, you guys are saying he's huge. I think he's really lean. And I think that was him just blown up to all get out. And I think he comes from parkour roots. I mean, he's a fucking supermodel. Good looking kid.
How do you get into urban climbing? Just one day you're like, I climbed up, 2-story building.
Well, like
this 30-story next.
Like I was saying in the beginning, the whole thing is he was saying he wants to take control of his life. And the reason why he wants to take control of his life is that he feels like people that are close to him could die, like loved ones can die. All right. I bet you this is going to be a live call-in show back to back. Last night's show was pretty wild.
Did you have a good time?
I did have a good time.
That's good.
I did have a good time. Caleb was acting a little weird. I had a good time. Oh, we already have, wow. We already got a monetization limit on the show. I didn't say any of the words. I didn't say the V word or the A word or the N word or the R word or the C word I didn't say any of those words.
None of the alphabet letters.
But this show's already been flagged. Crazy. Yeah, last
They
night's
just
show
know
already
it.
has 2,600, 2,700 views on YouTube. That one's
Holy
going to go over
smokes.
100,000 on Apple. Wow. Dude,
That's
the Hiller
insane.
show's exploding.
Yeah. People wanted that one. People wanted that one. We're
There,
gonna have to bring him back.
there was a point in the show where Hiller was saying that we were talking about David Hippensteel, and he was saying that David Hippensteel could get a pass, or that someone could get a pass. And I made this joke that I made a joke that it was he's not even a minority. And someone flagged it in the YouTube comments, like something was wrong with it. And then I don't know if it was Will or you or Caleb, someone said it's just a joke. And then they said, oh, interesting joke. And then I came on, I said, well, it's not a joke, but it is a joke, but it's a joke that falls under satire.
Right.
And it's just so weird that people don't get that.
I don't understand. I don't understand what they want to do with that. Like, what are they? They're gonna point it out and be like, "Hey, everybody, come over here and be upset at this."
Yeah, is it racist? Yeah, it's
Come crowd
racist, but it's not
around.
me being racist. It's satire. I'm making fun of the people who are racist. And who are those people? Those people with the leftist ideology that think it's okay to be racist in order under the guise of being benevolent. It's not.
Well,
It's
sometimes the
not
weird
because
thing too about satire with like Babylon B and stuff is sometimes it comes true. Like months later,
yeah, yeah.
they'll put something
Well,
ridiculous, and then
yeah.
like 3 months later, it's
I
true.
guess it's I wonder if a component of satire is irony. Maybe I don't even know what word I'm using. Should I look up the word satire? Are you getting nervous because you have to go and leave me? Don't be. I'll be fine.
No, they'll yell at me.
Oh yeah, that is what satire is. So I had it right. The use of humor and irony and exaggeration or ridicule to expose or criticize people's stupidity. I should make some ridicule, and that person didn't fall for it. So does that mean that person's stupid? That person didn't understand it.
Yeah, maybe they misread it. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
Man, oh man. Yeah, see here. And by Caleb acting weird, Sevon means Caleb was speaking. Yeah, correct. That's right. Well, what's weird is that Ken Walters noticed it like 10 minutes into the conversation, like, hey, something's different. Something is different. Did you guys sit back in the back row of the theater? I don't remember. I don't remember where Dave and I sat.
I always think about like, is there people that do CrossFit, like have done CrossFit for a while, that like you guys come in and someone's like, holy crap, it's Dave and Sevon, and they're like in the movie theater with there. You guys go to lunch, like one of the lunch outings that you went with Greg, and everybody's like, oh crap.
I will say this this weekend in Colorado. Normally, my whole career at CrossFit, basically, if I'm with Dave and Greg, people will ask for pictures, and I'll never be in the pictures. When I mean never, I mean 99.99% of the time. And if I am in the picture, it's an afterthought, and I think the people just feel sorry for me. But that's maybe just my insecurity. So I'm always the one who takes the picture, right? So we'll be together, and the person will be like, "Hey, Sevon, can you take a picture of Greg and I?" And they hand me the phone. You know what I mean? Just a stranger.
Yeah,
I'm more than happy with that, to do that. I mean, that's my job.
Hey, you know what's funny is I thought about what, like, if we end up doing one of these sectionals or the games or something like that, and you're there, and let's just say there's other characters there, such as Dave or Greg or something. I would just opt out immediately as I see somebody come up with the camera and be like, "Hey guys, I'll take that photo for you. Why don't you get in there?" It's
Yes.
like I just headed it off. It's like, no, they probably wanted me in the photo, but I had to take it. Just doing the
And
right thing.
I did that, and I did that a lot. So if someone came up, I would also do that too. Like if I knew they wanted a picture, I would just take the camera from them or the phone.
Yeah.
But this weekend in Colorado, I took a lot of pictures. Podcast is,
Awesome.
I guess people want a picture with the guy who does the podcast.
Oh, like people ask for a lot of pictures with you.
A lot of pictures, yeah.
Oh,
And you know what?
I thought you meant like you bought a photo album together for me to view afterwards of your trip.
No.
Oh, okay.
I always realize when I'm around CrossFitters how little I am. Like when I'm working out in my own garage, I'm like, damn, I'm looking buff and shit. And then I would go to these events and like everyone's more buff than me. Like all the girls, the dudes, the kids, everyone's buffed.
That's all right.
I don't think he's coming on.
Yeah, we're 14 in.
What do you guys think?
Disappointed. Did you check the WhatsApp? He was always super responsive.
I did not.
Check to see, make sure this.
No. Maybe he died. Maybe he fell off a building.
All right. Well, I've been summoned now too.
Okay, bye.
All right. I will see you later. Call me afterwards.
Dude. Okay, bye. For crying out. Comment. The comment friends always deliver hilarious. The comment friends. Comment friend? Oh, just the comments in the friends. Dylan, what are you doing right now? Should I send you a link? You gonna come in? You're gonna pinch hit? I know we're supposed to have you on the show. Look at, I'm sending you a link. Don't. Oh shit. I just saw your shirt. Driveway dumpster and Paper Street Coffee. You have the shirt. And I'm an island boy. Nice. Holy shit. Wow. Wow. All right. What's cool is I'm always prepared. I have nude photos of your mom I'm about to pull up. Who am I talking to? You're about to see. Okay. You guys ready? I was going to start my next live call-in show with this, but I guess we're doing a live call-in show. So let's go to share the screen. This is normally much smoother because I have someone helping me. Okay, you guys ready? And here we go. Uh-oh, no, we don't.
Chopping trees. I done something new for this fight. I done wrestled with an alligator. That's right. I have wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail. That's bad. Only last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. Bad dude. Bad. Fast.
Tell me someone in the comments. Can you hear Ollie talking?
The switch was in the bed before the room was
I can't hear him in my headphones.
Fast. You, George Foreman, all of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him picked. But the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am. Been chopping trees. I done something.
Tell
new
me,
for this
yes,
fight.
Alyssa, yes, you can hear him. Isn't it
Alligator.
crazy how different
right.
this is?
I have wrestled
This
with
shit talking versus today's shit talking. It's so different. Does anyone know if Ollie prepared this shit? Did he prepare this? Like, did he know he was gonna say all this, or is this he's just freestyle poetry?
I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. Bad dude. Bad. Fast. Last night I cut the light off in my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark.
He's so fast. My goodness. I'm glad you guys could hear that. Shit talking's come a long way, huh? A long way. Not talking about no one's mama. Not talking about. I wonder if that was offensive back then. Yo,
what's going on, man?
To save the show, Dillon Vowell.
Hey, man, I'm happy to be here.
We don't need no fucking rock climber, building climber.
Hey, I'm a rock climber.
All right. I know. I see that thing hanging in the back there. Is that some rock climbing stuff?
No. Nah, I'm actually at a friend's house right now.
Oh, is that a lamp?
Chandelier, something like that?
Yeah. It looks low.
Yeah, well, it was over a table, so you can walk face first into it.
Hey, what day were you supposed to come on? I know you're supposed to come on because you have a fight on May 6th. What day were you supposed to come on?
I was supposed to come on Friday, and then it got moved to Monday.
Monday meaning tomorrow.
Yes.
All right, well, bitchin'. Now it got moved to now. How are you? How's your time right now? You good?
It's great, man. Yeah, I'm good.
And you have some like 1980s headphones on.
Yeah, they're good for work.
What's the cord that's like coming down?
That's another headphone.
Ah, gotcha. Dylan, how old are you?
I'm 27.
And you're in the fight game.
I'm in the fight game, some would say.
It's crazy. You know, you have such a strong intellect as well. Do you know that? Like you're a great writer. You say good things. You're insightful.
Thank you.
And you're gonna let someone punch that brain of yours.
Well, the goal is to not get hit, but I guess inevitably it'll happen.
You've had one amateur fight.
Correct.
And how'd that go? What happened?
It was good. It was everything that I wanted out of it. I mean, I lost
Mhm.
in a split decision, but man, like I didn't. I lost in the terms of who got their hand raised, but I won for the goals that I wanted to get out of it, and that was just being able to go through 8 weeks of camp and freaking hardship, man, and just tough, grueling exercises and mitt work and sparring and all that, and then to develop a strategy and practice that strategy and execute under extreme pressure, which I did. And unfortunately, it wasn't enough to come away with getting the hand raised, but I still won because I was able to execute our game plan.
You were? You were? You were able to you were able to execute? You were able to execute?
I was, yes.
And then so then why didn't you win?
Because I would say I wasn't active enough. I was active with forward pressure, active in the wrestling, active with the wall wrestling. All that was good, and that was all part of the game plan. But he was a phenomenal striker, so he had more volume of strikes. It was similar to the Darian Weeks fight, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Which when you go up with a striker who's gonna really
Did the guy you fight is it this guy Eli Wilson I'm looking at here?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And did he have a karate stance?
Yeah. So
Okay.
he comes from Upstate Karate, which is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's gym. Ray Thompson.
Oh
was
shit.
into his
Okay.
corner.
Okay.
It was like a celebrity appearance, so the pressure's really on, right?
Wow. Yes. Yes.
That kid was incredible, and his brother's a fighter as well. They're great, and but he outdid me in footwork and outdid me in striking, but we weren't going to get into a footwork battle with somebody who's got great footwork. You know, it was not enough time for my novice, to catch up in that realm. So we focused on really pushing the pressure, getting him up against the fence. We knew we were going to win in the wrestling. But to the judges' eyes, man, when you're throwing out a lot of strikes, landing or not, or they're just seeing that they're beating you to the punch.
Yeah.
And
It went the distance?
It did.
Okay. So that's another reason why you feel good.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Plenty of time to learn in there. You go in there and get knocked out or have a quick knockout for your first fight. That's not the best because you want to see what you're made of. Right.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. And man, third round grueling, that's what I wanted. I wanted let's push the pace. Let's try anyway, let's dig down deep. And all I heard with a minute left was from my coach when I had him up against the wall. My coach in my corner just screamed out as loud as he possibly could, "We need a takedown." And we worked on this particular takedown off the wall a ton of times in training. And so I went down for the high crotch, hoisted him over my head and slammed him on the mat and ended it with a little bit of ground and pound. So
that's how the bell rang at the end of the third round with you on top of him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, dude.
And the first round.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So if you would have won, would you have been surprised or no? Could have gone. It was that close. I haven't seen the fight. I just tried to pull it up. I can't find it.
No, I thought I had done enough with that final takedown.
Is it on YouTube?
It is. Yes.
Okay, so you thought you won.
Yeah. For
okay.
sure with that final takedown, ending in ground and pound top position. I knew it was 1-1 going into the third round. My coach was honest with me in that sense. I rocked him in the second round pretty bad, but then he kicked me in the old
he did?
Cock and balls.
Yeah, wow.
Cock and balls. And
wow.
Then that one, that's a weird one because it doesn't hurt like a normal nut shot. It just zaps you. You have nothing left instantly. It's a weird feeling.
Is it the LFA 27?
No, that's his brother. His brother fights for the LFA.
Okay.
You're gonna want to go to. You could probably type in my name in YouTube and it'll pop up.
I thought I did type DIL. Is it 1 L or 2 L's?
2 L's.
DILLO. Yeah. Vowel.
Yes.
Versus Eli Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't fucking get it. Am I spelling vowel wrong? Oh, Aries Fight Series 2, Eli Wilson versus DILLON VOWELL.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Surprise, surprise. Oh shit, you guys really did go the distance. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, before I put this on, I have some questions I don't want to forget. How long have you been CrossFitting?
I think I started back in, I think technically my first workout was Fight Gone Bad, I believe. And that was in the military. And that was probably 2014.
Okay, so you've been CrossFitting for a while. When you talk about that third round, for those of us who've never been in that situation, is there anything tantamount to that in CrossFit where you're like, oh shit, I gotta dig? Or is it never like that because there's no one there to punch you in the face?
I would say through the CrossFit competitions that I've done, yes, it's similar. I don't know. I think it would just be how you contend with yourself and like your notion to quit. You know, I think how much of a hold do you have on that? And in the gym, it's really easy to succumb to that, right? Like with a barbell and you know, I can set it down or I could walk around the other side of the barbell to catch another breath. And like, yeah, there is a bit of urgency that makes it different. Like with they're still coming, you know, they're still trying to hurt you. So there's no real time to like drop your hands or step off the gas pedal. And I felt that in competitions.
How was your conditioning for this?
It was
Were you
great.
happy with it? Was.
Yeah, it was great, man. My coach did a lot of good stuff with me to make sure we were ready for a 3-round war.
And this is coming towards this is with 58 seconds left in the fight.
Yes.
And that's you pressing him against the fence right there?
Yes.
And what weight class is this?
This is 170.
Damn. And what do you walk around at?
Before that, when I started camp, I was about 200 pounds.
Oh shit. Oh, you handled him. Wow. Does he come up easy or is that hard what you just did?
It was so hard. It was like my legs were full of blood, you know, lactic acid, all that. And like you feel like you don't have it in you, but I knew I had it in me somewhere. So I was like, I'm getting you off the fence, motherfucker. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Does he make a noise? Is he surprised when he goes up in the air?
I would imagine he was surprised, but he didn't make a noise. I actually almost knocked myself out on his hip when we landed. I didn't change in the air to a better position. And
oh, so you finished strong, dude. Holy shit, you finished strong. Let's see where you almost knock you. Let's see where you almost fucking ding yourself here.
It was right in the beginning of the second round.
Right in the beginning.
Oh, you're talking about me when I landed?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't really tell because my head was buried in his hip, and his hip bone just hit my temple so hard that I just saw a flash of light.
Dude, look at him. I mean, you pull him up so easy. So that's hard as shit.
Yeah. Well, relatively, yeah. To that in that time in the fight, yes, it was very difficult. If you're doing it in practice or you do it fresh, like it's not that difficult with right mechanics.
Right, and he is I mean, not all the way up to his midline, but you got quite a bit of his body over you already.
Yeah.
When you lift and you dig. Oh man. Okay, so so no wonder. Now it all kind of makes sense why you feel so good about the fight. You finished on top. You thought probably you won 2 of the rounds, and it's just an amateur debut. I shouldn't say just. I mean, it's huge for you and for anyone. You know, a lot of people never do that. But if that was a professional fight, you'd be like, "What the fuck?" Because it's there forever. It's like it's on your permanent high school record.
Yeah, you'd probably be like, "What the fuck?" Because you get half your purse.
You know? Oh, you do? You only get half your purse too?
Typically, yeah. With professional fights, you know the loser gets half, which sucks. But I guess there's incentive there to win, right?
Yeah, for sure. How old is that kid?
I think he's 26. He's around my age, 26 or 27. And
do you know how many fights he had?
He had no fights. No MMA fights. He was a I think just doing kickboxing his entire life because of his family and the gym he was a part of.
Okay. So that was a fair fight. That was a good fight for both of you. 2 high-level fit dudes, but who had never had a fight.
Correct.
And
Yeah,
then who are
he
you?
was definitely
Go
way
ahead.
more versed in the fight game than I was. I just had a little bit of wrestling experience and then 6 months of training.
And who are you fighting on May 6th?
I'm fighting a guy named geez, now I don't even remember.
What's the Dillon Vowell event tickets May 6th, 6 p.m. venue? Oh, here I got the link right here. It's in Knoxville.
Yes, home of John
Eh,
McCarthy.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's the Aries fight series. Wow, a table there. Oh, it's fucking sold out. The tables are sold out.
Yeah, it's sold out. Well, the tables are sold out. Tickets, I think, are still available. Just
I'm
general
looking
admission.
I'm looking who you're fighting. Cody Farm, no. Blake, no.
Stephen Kent.
Yes. Steven, you're fighting at 155?
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell me about that. What happened? So that last fight we saw, you fought at 170 welterweight, and now you're dropping down to what is that? Lightweight? Lightweight.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
Man, I was just fat. I was just fat, and knowing that, like, well, I weigh 200 pounds, but I'm 5'9", and so it's like I'm not gonna fight at 200. Typically, like, amateur fighter debuts will go in at their walking around weight.
Yeah.
But I was like, I can get down to 170 because I know I was just fat. And then from there, like, once I went through the 8 weeks of just good nutrition and a lot of cardio and training and all that, you just naturally lose weight. So I did about a 10 or 12 pound water cut. So I was down to about 185. When I walked, 180, and then when I walked in the cage, I was like 183 or something like that.
What'd he say?
He said you're looking good too.
The Dillon Vowell I'm staring at right here on this camera right now. How much do you weigh right now?
I weigh 170.
Oh shit! And so have you been training at the weight? When was that fight that we just saw? That Eli Wilson fight?
November 2nd last year.
Okay, so 5 months ago, 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And oh look, one of your sponsors is piping off in the comments here. We all better stream this fight. Yep,
Oh,
we
dude,
will.
Gabe is amazing, man.
We will. So since that you fought that fight, you're a 200-pound man who fought that fight at 170.
Yes.
Since you went down to 170 back in November, let's say that's November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Let's say 6 months ago. What have you stayed at the 170 weight?
Well, I was right around 180. I mean, the entire.
Okay, so and you said that. Sorry, when you walked in the ring, 180. Did you ever go above that? Have you been back up to 200 since your fight?
Nope, not at all.
Okay.
That's why I decided down to 155, because I was like, well, I can, get back into a caloric deficit, good nutrition, do all the training, and then I'll have plenty of time to just lose more weight and get down to a more achievable water cut, if you will, because you don't want to do a 30-pound water cut. I mean, that's death's door. You want to do 10, 15 pounds.
You see a lot of guys who even 6 days before their fight, especially guys who are coming from a 200-pound down to 155, their faces will look funny. You look good.
Yeah.
I mean, you look good, like Marcus Philly good. Well, even better than him. That motherfucker been walking around like really sucked up lately. Do you follow him?
He's so shredded.
Yeah,
yeah. But his workouts
I kind of want to go over to his house and make him eat something. He's too skinny.
Yeah, I remember watching you do the behind the scenes and talking to Marcus Philly and all them. Yeah, it's cool to see him doing his own thing now.
Oh, he's a beast. But let me see how skinny he is. Yeah, you're looking good. I can't believe you're going to get down to 155. Oh, it looks like he's put on. His face looks better again. I'm looking at his post. Yeah, he looks better. He was too skinny for a minute. Yeah, I'll share this with you, and then we'll get back to talking about you.
I wonder how healthy he feels now, being outside of such a high-level competition in the CrossFit Games. And
Probably so much better.
Right,
he feels so much better. Yeah, but his face looks great here, right? But if you look at him, maybe it was like 6 months ago, he wasn't looking so good. Like this is like that. That's too skinny. Wow. See his cheeks?
What was he doing with nutrition? Was he doing it like something experimental, or?
I don't know. I just come for the pics. I don't do any of the reading. I just stare at the pics. I mean, look at his fucking back.
It's insane. It's a
Yeah.
burlap sack full of snakes.
Hey, I think that's where you're headed at 155. When's the last time you weighed 155?
Oh, fuck, 6th grade.
So say that again. 6th
No,
grade?
no, I'm joking. I wrestled at
Oh.
152 when I was a junior in high school. So that's probably the last time. After that, I got into the bodybuilding, like gained a bunch of weight for baseball.
What is your Instagram at?
Relentless Dillon Vowell.
All one word?
Yes.
DILL
ON.
DOWELL.
Yes.
How's that?
That's perfect.
All right, bam. So you're fighting this guy. You're gonna fight at 155, and you've never fought at 155.
Correct.
And you think you'll walk into the ring probably closer to 170 than 150?
Probably. Yeah.
Any part of you nervous about that weight cut? That's 20 pounds from where you're at right now in 6 days. I'm nervous. That's why I ask.
No. I mean, yeah, no. I don't know. It takes grit, and I'm confident in that.
Yeah, and you look good. And what will you be eating for the next 5 days? Like, what's the foundation of your diet? What will it be? Like chicken and broccoli?
No, well, sort of. I mean, not really any vegetables. Just can't have any carbs or salt. So it's just protein and fats. Whatever fits that mold with no salt and no carbs, protein and fats. So it could be hamburger or eggs or any of that. And so you can eat entirely through the entire water cut. It's all about water loading and then a few days of cutting it out.
So avocado is a no-go.
Probably do the oil, but I don't know the carbohydrate content of like.
So you'll just
eating avocado.
So for the next 5 days, you'll just have hamburger meat and chicken and shit.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, but that's not. I don't care. Like I just like it's just fuel at that point, and so it's just and I fast 20 hours a day anyway, so I don't like.
No shit.
Yeah.
It's 7 days a week.
I hate eating during the day. I cannot stand it. It makes me tired. No, even if it's good food, like I just get tired immediately, and I don't like that. I just go. I like going and feeling hyper aware throughout the day, and yeah. So typically, like outside of something like this training, I'm such a freaking glutton, so I'll get a pizza on the way home. Like eat a whole pizza or something in those 4-hour feed window. But yeah, it's.
I can't if I don't eat before a podcast ever.
Your mind work better, you think?
Yeah, I just don't want to be there's a like you're saying there's a lethargic maybe too strong, but there's definitely a component of that. Or so yesterday I flew home from Denver and all they had were fucking waffles on the airplane. So I asked for a bag of beef jerky, and then the bag of beef jerky comes, I open it, I eat one piece, and I'm like, I better check the 13 grams of sugar. So then I'm like, hey, do you have any nuts? And he brings me the nuts, and the first ingredient I see is sunflower oil. I'm like, you motherfuckers. So I get home and I can't remember if I went to Kelly Clark. She's a aspiring games athlete. She was having a fundraiser, and I went to her event, and her boyfriend there was making hamburgers. And so I ate like 3 hamburgers. Right. And then I came home and I'm like, okay. And I started watching the fights. Did you watch the fights?
I did not. No.
Oh God. Okay. We'll talk about that in a second. So I come home and I'm watching the fights, and I'm preparing. And at the same time, I'm sort of preparing for the podcast. And I have 1 can of kombucha, like alcohol, 8%, mixed with 3 cans of sparkling water. I put it in a huge thing. So it's like so diluted, right?
Right.
It's like, but even then, 45 minutes before the podcast, I get on the assault bike and I fucking get at it. I need to sweat all that shit out. I need to feel light. I need to go into the podcast like wishing I could eat something. I just have to. I don't want to feel any
lag.
I don't want to no lag. Yeah, I want to be like kind of like hungry, kind of like happy to be here, but anxious for it to be over to eat.
I wonder if there's some component to it, like through some kind of the nature of us throughout our lineage that like I wouldn't want to call it starvation, but maybe it triggers something in your mind to be more alert and more, because I feel like I problem solve far better. Like
When you're a little, when you have, well, you know, there's that theory that basically you're more alert, so you're like seeing like a fly go by or an animal go by because you got to grab it and eat it and get that like little, even if it's a fly, that bit of protein. But there's also the part of this. I think it's safe to say that no world-class athlete in a track and field event has ever won in the longer time domains who's not dehydrated. Like I don't think anyone's ever won the New York City Marathon crossing the finish line like hydrated. I have to guess 100% are dehydrated. Right.
There's no way they could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's an element to peak performance at I mean, we all know that feeling when you're just fucking working out and you're starving, but you feel so light and you're getting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you can and I don't know, particularly in training, like I achieve that flow state way better. You know, where you're
flow state, is that what we said?
Yeah, flow state. I've heard, I would imagine that's what I'm experiencing. That's what I've heard it referred to as, but where you're just hyper focused and nothing matters but the task in front of you. And when you can get there, it's because you got past that initial like wanting to quit because it's hard. When you want to stop because your body's telling you all these things, like we can just stop for a moment. We can just if we just take a deep breath, or if we drop our hands for a second, or if we fake an injury, or whatever, like you want out, and to contend with that, and to break through that barrier of saying no to your mind, that's when you can get in those flow states. And it's hard to get there, but that's what I thrive on. Like I love experiencing that, because you know what, man, everything in life is hard, and you're gonna have to be able to suck it the fuck up.
What do you mean by there's two things I want to ask you real quick. One, and I just don't want to forget this. You know what we should do after this fight? I was going to say we should ask the Aries fight series if we can just play your fight after this and have you talk about it. Like just do an 1.5-hour show where you break it all down. Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. Oh, that he gouged me there. Oh, right here, my balls, like one of my balls went up into me. Like just really, it would be so fun.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
But then I was like, fuck them. Even if they don't let us, all they're going to do is just monetize it off my account. And I don't give a fuck. Fuck it, whatever. So let's do that if you want. What do you mean everything in life is hard? Like when you push the button and send me $19.99 and you only have $21 in your account, is that hard? Man, you've given me so much money.
Hey, man, that's why I'm on this podcast right now. Philanthropy, right?
You scratch my back, I scratch your back.
Hey, man, I'm still mind blown that I'm on here, but I appreciate it.
So what do you mean everything in life is hard?
You know how when you have tragedy, right?
You mean like your dog dies, or like your finger chopped off by a saw? Or...
Yes.
Okay.
Like, that's tragic and that sucks and that's hard, right?
My life's so easy though. Like for me, it's like a gopher killed one of my trees. That's like the worst thing that happens in my life. My life's easy.
I think that your life is easy because you have spent years of practicing to make it easy.
Right.
And by what I mean by everything in life is difficult or hard, or like, think smaller than the tragedy and think to your overwhelming willingness to quit, because it applies to everything you do. I guarantee it. When you get home from a long day at work and you don't do the dishes, you quit.
Oh,
right. You succumb to that notion of I'd rather relax than get something very simple done that probably takes 5 minutes. That is the prime example of what goes through my head always. The little things is like every decision that you make in not doing the dishes, or that tiny little task where you're like, get in the morning. That's chalk one up for the quit side. So the more you can identify these little things where you don't quit at and you refuse to relax and get things done that need to be tended to right then, because you have the time, right? Don't say you don't have time, because I don't care if you get home at 10:30 and you got to shower and you got to eat and it's midnight. Oh, dishes are still there. Guess what? Another 5 minutes before you can lay down. The more things you can identify with that, the more your life becomes smooth. It becomes an easy ride because it's not up to question anymore. I don't have to say, am I going to do the dishes? Am I not going to do the dishes? The things that those.
Wow, that's how you raise kids too, by the way. Go on. Say that again. Compile.
Those little things. those little things that you ignore, they compile. And I'm not saying that the dishes will always, they'll just build up, obviously, right? But every time you decide not to do something like that, it will affect your life down the road. So down the road, the more times you could have gotten rid of all that quit, by the time I'm 50 years old, like Sevan Matosi, and I'm living in paradise because I figured it all out.
Right.
And I use the dishes scenario because, man, I work a lot. I work all day, full-time job, and my job is physical, pretty physical. I'm a general contractor for residential construction and light commercial construction and maintenance as well, property maintenance. And so it can get physical.
In what state? In what state?
Ohio.
Okay.
And so then I have to drive to my gym and train. Well, I get off at maybe 6:30, maybe 7. I'm still going to the gym to train, right? I might get off at 5:30. It just depends. I still got to drive to the gym and train. And I put in 3 hours if I can. Drive home, it's late. When I get home, if there's something that needs to be done, I'm doing it, because in a few months, there's going to be this precious thing in my life that's going to demand a lot of attention from my fiance.
Your fiance is pregnant?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Did I know that?
Probably. I don't know.
Oh, congratulations. Crazy.
Thank you. So I take on this practice of doing those little things, because she's going to be holding this infant nonstop that's going to demand so much of her that she's going to look to me to pick up the slack. So it's like, you don't start picking up the slack when the baby's here. That's when it's overwhelming. You can't deal with it. You start practicing now.
Are you going to keep fighting?
Yes.
Yeah. She knows that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's game.
Oh, that's awesome. Bruce, so this is not the Bruce deserves, he's always here, so he deserves an explanation of what the fuck is going on with this show today. So the urban climber Alexis Landot didn't show up. We immediately turned to the bench and picked up Monday's guest, DILLON VOWELL, who all of you guys know who listen to this show. And he's having a second amateur fight on May 6th against not Eli Wilson. That's who he fought in November. It's against Steven. Don't tell me. Who is it? Stephen Kent? Yeah, Stephen Kent. And he's dropping from 171 to 155. This is the first time he's fighting at that weight. And it's gonna be the Aries series. I wonder what time this is at on I wonder what time this is at. What's the May 6th is what day? Is that a Friday or Saturday?
Friday.
Hey, are you allowed to drink water now? Friday.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm in the midst of the water load.
Okay. So you can drink as much water as you want right now.
Yes. Oh well, it's actually measured. It's 2 gallons, then 1 gallon, then 1 gallon, and then half a gallon, and then no gallons.
Is that just a wisdom that all fighters know? Like, is that just like whether you're Alexander Volkanovski or DILLON VOWELL, that's the protocol?
I think it's probably the standard of practice. Yeah, for probably higher level fighters. Like I said, amateurs don't typically cut too much weight, but it's important to load before you cut, because if you don't load, like a lot of people, like if you don't know this method, you're essentially just going to be starving yourself and drinking no water, and it's going to suck way more than it has to.
Is the reason why you picked up fighting one of those things that you were just referencing, that hey, you better do it? Like, it was there's things that compile on the outside, which is dishes, but fighting was something that was compiling inside. Like, hey, these are some things I'd like to do. I'd like to climb Mount Everest. I'd like to be nicer to my mom. I'd like to do professional fighting. Like, like that list of things, like you're like, okay, yeah. I'm not going to talk back to my parents. I'm a man now, or I'm, whatever. Hey, right. Anytime my wife upsets me, I'm going to make sure I don't snap quickly. I'm going to take a deep breath. Like we have like these things that we're like trying to improve our life, that rules we place. Is fighting one of those? Like, hey, fuck, I want to know what it's like to fight, and I'm 27. I better fucking do it before the window closes. Or no?
There's probably a little bit of that, but no, essentially.
Okay. Then where's it come from?
I have a tremendous, I don't want to call it, it's a fear. I have a tremendous fear of not being able to respond under pressure that fight or flight. I fear the flight. I fear the freeze, you know. I fear, and it stems from my childhood. The traumatic experience in my childhood that lingered with me for to this day. And so I think as I got older and as an adult, fortunately, when like pressure situations came about, or I got myself into some dumb shit and I had to fight, maybe, you know, I was able to respond, you know, and that's unfortunate that I didn't freeze in the adult world. But I still fear it. And I don't think that just because I recognize that I can respond under pressure or act under pressure, that's like with everything in life. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you shouldn't practice it. It's a tool. You must sharpen it. And for me, it's protecting my family. So I go as deep as you can go with it, to my family being attacked in the middle of the night and me not being able to get up out of bed. I go, if we're out in public.
Do you ever practice that? Like, so like what I'll do sometimes is I'll wake up at 3 a.m. Like my eyes will just pop open and I'll just go straight to where my guns are. Open the safe in the dark, get the gun, and walk out into the living room. And I just did an impromptu practice fire drill. Like I wasn't planning it or anything, but I probably do that at least once a month, just to like, you know, just to be like, hey, it's like something you should just practice like that. Like, will you do that? Stuff like that?
We have a plan. We have a hard point in the house. And a hard point is essentially where that's it. You're there and you're locking down and you're not moving. That's
the fight to the death spot.
That's that if they go there, like if somebody breaks into your house, I would imagine typically they're not there to murder you. They're there to rob you. Right. So the important thing is to not engage. That to me,
I used to. That was the plan before I had a wife and kids. If someone ever breaks into my house, to jump out the window and run down to the bar, get a beer, and then come back and call the cops. Like that seriously was the plan. Fuck that. I ain't fighting. But now it's like, fuck you, you're dead. You know what I mean? Like
for sure. I go back
a little bit.
I've talked to quite a few people who are well versed in the home defense area and through combat and stuff, military and stuff like that. I always try to gain their insight on something like this because
I should probably do that too. I just made up my shit in my head.
I think that's where it starts, right? And then you can refine it down into a plan. But the important thing is to have a hard point. You got to have somewhere where it's Fort Knox.
Yeah.
Somewhere to go to. That's the immediate. You hear someone kicking the door, you know the wife and kids are going to that room because it's the room that's the least accessible.
Right.
You tuck them in there, and if you want to go and fight, then you go and fight. And maybe that's the better option. But maybe it's the better option to not engage at all. You all hunker down in the fort, and then if they come into that room, you're melting their barrel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All the while, as soon as they kick in that door, you get into the hard point and you call the cops.
Yeah.
You wait for them to come.
Do you have a dog?
I do, yeah, and I contend with that a lot too because I some people think that me and the dog should go engage because the dog can be my point man. He can go down there first and he's gonna attack and he's gonna grab somebody.
My dog would be so. If my dog grabs someone, they're in so much fucking trouble.
Yeah, I have a German Shepherd, so
yeah.
You know, good luck.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. Yeah, and my dog definitely wants to engage. My dog wants to engage so bad.
It's hard to think that I kind of feel like in a way I have a hard time with it because it feels like a canary in the coal mine. Because he'll go down and he'll jack somebody, but if there's multiple guys, like he's dead.
Oh yeah, but do you care about that?
Not when it comes to
you feel bad for your dog.
Family.
Sorry, I don't mean to sound like a callous piece of shit. I love my dog, but part of me is like,
well, no, I know what you're saying, right? And when it comes to protecting your family, you're like the dog's dead. Like, see ya. You're the canary.
I would eat. I've even thought I would eat my dog. I've thought about circumstances where I'd have to eat my dog.
Oh yeah, you'd have to for sure.
Yeah,
I'd start with the cat, but you know.
Right.
But I think of it not in the sense of comparing it to my family. Is it necessary? Can I take the dog and the wife and the kids to the hard point and we hunker down there? And if they
isn't it amazing? Think about it. You're so much more capable than me and yet your plan, that's the thing that people don't realize. The more capable people are, the less they want to engage. It's like that with all the jiu-jitsu guys I know, all the black belts, all the guys who are the collegiate wrestlers. Like they're not like the bar breaks out in the fight and they're like holding their beer up. You know what I mean? Like,
excuse me.
Yeah, they're not fucking no one up. But also if something really weird does go down, they just will go over there and just take care of it.
Yeah.
And they're usually pretty calm at first, and then if it gets squirrely, then they just kind of toss the dude over the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you've seen enough violence every day. You don't need to you don't need to do it to prove anything.
Yeah, you're just like
mine's fear-based, yours is like safety-based.
Yes, I'm all about necessity. Is this necessary? Do I have to engage? At what point? Like, I think that if you can't talk somebody down, or get away from the situation, they better have done something pretty crazy, or they might be crazy, you know, to where you just have to engage. But I think in most cases, you can either get away from the situation, or you can sometimes talk them down. Like, hey, dude, my bad. I didn't mean to piss you off or insult you. I'll buy you a beer. You know, set the ego aside just to protect yourself from getting hurt, or you hurting somebody and maybe killing somebody by them smacking their head off the concrete.
I wonder if you could explain the political ideologies in that way too. Like, I defend my house like a liberal, like fear-based, like scared.
Right.
And I'm just, I don't know if this is true. I'm just making a shot at this. And the conservative guys are like tough, and they know they have guns, and they shoot bears, and they shoot birds, and they bring food for their family, and they're more, and so they're more like, hey, it's safety first. And the liberal guys don't understand that. So when they see the guns, and they project all of that violence onto those guys, but those aren't the violent guys.
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't the violent guys, and that's why the liberal politicians are the warmongers. They're fear-based, you know.
Right.
And but the Republicans are portrayed that because they're collecting the missiles. I wonder if there's something to that. Are you conservative? Are you more conservative than liberal?
I don't. I would think. I don't know. I'm not big into politics, but I'd say I like maximum personal freedom as well.
Oh yeah, okay. So you're probably libertarian. Yeah.
Sure. Call me whatever. I don't give a shit. Because to me, there's so few, like,
you can do heroin, just don't do it on my kids in Starbucks. Go do it in your own house. Yeah. Me too. Yep.
Yeah.
When you do it in Starbucks, it's no good. The Starbucks is trying to run a business, and I'm in there trying to tutor my kid in math. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
What incident happened as a young man that you froze in?
I was probably 10 years old. And we had a stepdad, and he was, the relationship crumbled with him and my mom. And I don't know the details as to why or what, but, a week before there was a smashed computer, he threw the computer monitor on the ground, he started getting weird and kind of violent. And so my mom kicks into the curb. And then, at one point in the middle of the night, she had the locks changed the day before, and in the middle of the night he came in, kicked the door in, and I, again, like 10 years old, immediately when I heard that happen, that bang, I don't know what a break-in is, but I knew nothing was good.
Right.
And so my eyes shot open, and I just remember laying there staring at the ceiling, petrified. I could not move. And no matter what I could do, I couldn't move. And he went straight into my mom's room, attacked her. She dialed 911, I think in time from what I remember, but he grabbed the phone and smashed it, got on top of her, held a knife to her throat. So from, 20 feet away as a 10-year-old, all I'm thinking is I have to protect my mom. I have to protect my mom. I have to protect my mom. But I couldn't move.
Right.
I had a baseball bat. It was like a little league baseball bat. I was tiny, so I had a small baseball bat. And all I could think was grab the bat and go in there, hit him over the head. Like, I had all these things were going through my head, like, go. Why aren't you moving? Go.
Yeah.
And it was a very short incident. Like, this isn't a long duration. This is probably, I would guess, it seemed forever in the moment, and in retrospect, it's probably like it was probably like a couple minutes, you know, of just a tussle, of just a fight. And he smashed the phone. Once he realized she called the cops, he hightailed it out of there. And so that's where I felt like an ability to, I could have done something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe I hit him over the head with a bat and he just laughs at me and then kicks me in the face, you know, like,
Yeah. Maybe kills you, or maybe kills
right.
your mom. Yeah.
Right. But
Or
maybe,
you hit him in the head and he goes unconscious and you saved your mom.
yeah, exactly. And
I mean, if she would have died, you'd be fucking in the park right now shooting heroin.
Probably, yeah.
You'd
well,
be
my
fucked
sister
up.
does that, so you know, maybe
Okay.
I think it was likely for me to go there one way or another. But
How old's your sister?
35.
She better stop, man. That fentanyl thing's not a joke. It's everywhere.
Yeah,
she gotta
man,
stop.
It's been her pretty much her whole life. But I don't live with that. Like I don't. That doesn't dwell. That doesn't consume me. That memory, right? But I take it and I file it, and I use it frequently.
Yeah. Do you leverage it?
Yes.
You bring your ego out to. It's funny you say that. I have a friend who, I have a friend who is a police officer, and his officer who is his I forget what they're called. They're like have a 3-letter word.
Field training officer.
Field training officer, yeah. Field training FTO, yeah.
Yep.
He was ambushed and killed.
Oh.
And he was telling me yesterday that at the gym and at the department, he has the guy's picture up on the wall, and he uses it. And that's probably the most crude way to do that. I mean that in a positive way, not a negative way. But he has the picture up there, so anytime he feels like tapping or not going harder, he looks up at his field training officer.
Right.
And uses it for motivation. But there's other ways that the ego can be leveraged too, and also in all sorts of situations that are positive. And that is what we should do. At least I believe that is what we should all do. We should be leveraging our ego, not letting our ego leverage us.
I agree.
I had something similar like that happen. I've told the story before. I was in a car at like a Wendy's, and my sister accidentally honked the horn. I was probably 12. My sister was 16, probably just got his driver's license. We're in the drive-thru, and the guy gets out of the car, and he's like a 40 or 50-year-old man, big dude, and he just starts fucking screaming at us and spitting at the car and coming over to my sister's car door and banging on her window, and then coming to mine and banging on the hood. And I just felt like I felt horrible. I felt fucking horrible. And it sat with me for fucking 15 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like I wanted that. I don't know what I would have done, but like I just want, I like part of me wishes I would have done something. Not part of me, all of me wishes I would have done something to protect my sister. Even though like we were in no harm's way, we were in the car.
Right.
But I don't know if you heard the Will Smith story, but after that thing happened with Chris Rock, I played it on one of the shows. In his biography, he saw a man go into his room. I don't know who it was, or his mom's room, or in the kitchen. He witnessed someone punch his mom in the face and knock her to the ground, and blood pour out of the side of his face, and he didn't out of her face, and he didn't do anything. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, that's what he's doing. He's standing up for his wife. He doesn't want to relive that again. He's trying to like, rewrite the story. He just chose kind of a weird time to do it.
Do you think he chose the weird time to do it because he's reactionary and not responsive? No, it's
Explain that to me more. Explain that to me more.
When you have an experience like that and that lives with you, like he talks about, I'll never let that happen. With my experience, I'll never let that happen. But how I choose to make sure it never happens is I practice it in every way possible. I'm in constant competitions with being under the lights and things like that, CrossFit competitions or, baseball, or like whatever, wrestling. I was always striving to like perform under pressure, practice. And once I figured out what it was, it's like, okay, we need to find a way to manufacture this as extreme as possible to get as close as possible. And that's where fighting came in, where it's like, that is so terrifying. And it's like, that's the closest you can get without actual real life,
right.
consequences, other than there's physical consequences, that can be dire, but you want to get as close as you can possible. And you should think about those moments constantly and how you are going to react in a certain situation. Manufacture them in your head.
Yeah.
Make them up and think, okay, am I man enough to walk away from this, or is my ego too big to where I'm gonna have to just react, right?
Yeah.
Because your reaction is ego based.
Yeah.
I think Will Smith's reaction is a product of him just having that fear and that trauma, but not ever practicing making it better.
Right.
So
Right.
I think his reaction is bullshit. And he's a pussy because Chris Rock's like 150 pounds.
Well, it was definitely it was 100% inappropriate what he did.
He knew he was
they're both hardcore comedians. It was on the biggest stage. It wasn't even a harsh comment, but I think maybe he saw it as an opportunity to heal his own personal wound. Like, what'd you say? Ego based. Yeah. I think it was like somehow it was an opportunity to heal his own personal wound.
Yes.
And it was an enormous fail. Like, he should have done that in an alley with some dude trying to take his wife's purse if he needed to face it. Not some fucking, like you said, 150-pound comedian who's your brother in colleague and peer in your profession. Yeah, it was fucking retarded. I feel sorry for Chris. I feel sorry for both of them. And I thought Chris Rock handled it perfectly.
He handled it great. Yeah. And I think that there are these situations in life.
And even how he hit him, he didn't even mean it, right?
Nah. And
like,
it was all
well, my wife's hit me before, like, and she hits me like this, not like lost control hit me, but like she hits me like she pulls back when she hits me. And I always tell her about that. I'm like, hey, don't fucking pull back. And Tony Blauer talks about that too. You have to give yourself permission, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you experience that in the ring?
No, but in sparring, I do. You know,
yeah.
Like in sparring, it's really hard to make sure you're constantly checking yourself that you're actually pulling back, because you don't want to hurt your partners. But then, man, when you get on the focus mitts and your coach has the body shield on and you're a week out and you went through all this shit of sparring and you're just wanting to knock somebody out and you're wanting to really see what kind of power you have or any of that, and you just can rip into those pads and all you can think about is like, okay, now we can release it because we're ready. Like, we can go into the fight and release it, like feel the full extension, the full follow through, everything. And when you land, God, it feels great.
When I see my kids train jujitsu, there's almost like this, they don't come at each other at a 10. One kid comes at each other with a 2 and the other kid's a 1. And then the kid who's a 1 goes to a 3 and then that kid goes to a 4 and it escalates, right? Like a fight, like with maybe one of your siblings.
Right.
But you're saying, and I guess that's how sparring might work too. But you're saying once you're in the ring in a fight, it's not like that.
No, it's 100 right away.
Yeah, you're like, oh, if I can knock this guy out in 3 seconds, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So what were you going to say about Chris Rock? And if you remember, sorry, when I interrupted, Chris Rock and Will Smith. Do you remember what you were going to say and I interrupted?
I think about these situations. They come about in life all the time. And I'm pretty fascinated with psychology and philosophy and how we work and why we do things. And so I try to identify situations every which way possible within myself, within my past, within other people's past, within their stories. They're everywhere. There's an freaking, endless encyclopedia out there for you to unfuck yourself.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So when I look at these and I evaluate them, I just go, okay, what could have happened? Like, what happened? What could have happened?
Sorry.
And
Oh, no, they
right.
hung up. Go ahead. Okay, back to unfucking yourself. The endless tools out there to unfuck yourself.
Yeah. So you have to break them down and try to define everything as best as possible. And this is, an evaluation. So it's you're kind of getting into the weeds of like, okay, what was going through Will Smith's head, what was going through Chris Rock's head, this and that, right? But you can kind of gather some. So like I told you about Will Smith, it seemed like an ego reaction, not a response. In these situations, I want to be the guy who responds, not reacts. So that's easy, right? It's like, because you look way better. You're going to interact with hundreds of thousands of people in your entire life. And every single one of those people are going to come away with a memory of you. How do you want that memory of you to be?
That I was in control. The cool guy's always the one who's in control.
Yes,
of himself.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I think about the ex-girlfriend that I had in high school, that their last memory of me is not so good. And not to be so egotistical to think that they think about me. You know what I mean? They
Right,
don't.
right,
I'm
right,
out of
right.
their
I'm
head.
with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
But I guarantee you, if I saw her dad, he'd probably still want to shoot me, you know, or whatever.
Right, right.
It's just, how do you want people to perceive who you are? And to do that is to really hone in on these scenarios and go, okay, do I really have the gall to just bury my ego in a situation where I want to react? You know, because an articulate response is freaking powerful.
It
And
is.
man, it's
By
not
articulate, you mean not only verbally, but you mean emotionally and physically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's not as satiating as an egotistical reaction, but it's like, you know, ego stuff is like pancakes. I mean, they're delicious until 10 minutes after you eat them. You feel like dog shit. But if you're healthy throughout your whole life, it's an incredible reward. And I want my daughter to see who I am. That's
Yeah,
her. That's my
yeah.
most important person in my life. That I want her perception to be something worth following. You know, something that she wants to be like dad, measured and even keeled, and have a certain level of equanimity that you
Yeah.
can
Yep. Great
gather.
word.
You know,
Great
because
word.
I see this in male, you know, archetypes all growing up, and I didn't have a father around to give me this day to day, how you interact with mom. You know, what are you doing when you get off of work? Are you snapping a beer open and then you're ignoring your wife, or are you engaging? Are you present? You know, what are you doing to take care of the household? Those are like small leadership, just actions that kids follow. And so
Equanimity, mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in a difficult situation. Great word.
I got a very, very sweet compliment from my fiance the other night, and it was about everything that I talked about just now, of being controlled, right, and being measured. And she just essentially said that she's so incredibly fortunate for me, and the way I am and the way I treat her and provide for her, and just our relationship is very everything reciprocates. She is a godsend, man. She's so incredible. But she gave me this compliment, and she knows this, but I always remind her. I go, baby, you have to. It's imperative that every time you think those nice things of me, and you see what you see, and you have these perceptions, and they're all exactly who I believe myself to be. But it's imperative that you also understand I was every guy who ever broke your heart. I was every person where you see something doing egregious, like I've broken the law. I've made
You're
mistakes.
capable. Yep.
I've made a dam full of myself in more than many places. I've disrespected my mother. I've you know, shit on the family name by just the way I had represented myself in the past. I've hurt people, but I'm not that anymore. And it took a long road of understanding, accepting that you were a piece of shit to unfuck yourself, you know. And so every time she gives me a compliment, I try to remind her, you know, because I think it's important that when you see somebody who's doing incredibly well, like Sevan Matosian, how did you get there?
Right.
They have a story, and
Right.
they weren't Sevan Matosian at 50 years old. I want to know about Sevan at 20 years old, living homeless and you know, smoking weed every day.
Yep.
You know, what kind of crazy, stupid ass mistakes did you make then?
Yep.
That's what makes a person. And as long as we can progress, and as long as we're growing from our past self, which was yesterday.
Yep.
I mean, you can get there. And I think everybody's going to get there, hopefully. I mean, most people will get there. But I never wanted to be the guy who was a 40-year-old. And they're like, man, like, yeah, you got it together, you know, or a 35-year-old. And they're like, we're 30, in their 30s, 35. seems to be the age where like, oh, that's when you get it together as a young man. Like you get it together when you're in your late mid-30s. And I'm like, oh, fuck that. I want to get it together now.
Yeah. Yeah. You always, and the people who do get it together, kind of once they get on the path, they're always doing that too. They're like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Once you,
Yes.
for me, it didn't start till later, but once it starts, you just stay on that path.
Anyone in there,
It eats away at you. I want to throw one thing out there for those of you who want to work on that. The greatest tool that I've ever seen for you want to be responsive instead of reactionary is start practicing taking a breath before you do everything. And that's why I would always, when I would do the behind the scenes interviews, there's an interviewer from a young man when I've interviewed people. But when I ask a question, I don't do it so much on this show, but I do still practice the technique. I ask a question and there'll be an uncomfortable silence and I'll want to fill it. And instead of filling it, I'll take a breath, because that will usually give the person to go somewhere really deep and come back with something. But it's the same thing with, once again, you're driving down the road and someone flips you off. If you can catch your hand before you flip them off back and take a breath, you are now practicing responsiveness and control. And every time, 99.99999% of the time, it will serve you. You'll take that breath and option B will pop up and it'll be better than option A. 99 fucking percent of the fucking time. And that's what I think Dylan was saying. I also want to make an observation about you. You are extremely romantic. By that, I mean, not romantic in the sense like, I think what romantic means in literature is you speak from a place of timelessness. The stuff you're saying, a man could have said 1,000 years ago, and he could say in 1,000 years. It's these are, you talk like you've been around forever. It's kind of crazy. Okay, sorry, go on. If you can remember where you were.
I think it was fairly wrapped up, but I do want to point something out with that. I think it was the 2016 regional, West Coast regionals. You were doing behind the scenes, which is a great one. I love that one. But in particular, there was a scene with, or a brief interview with your good friend Ronnie Teasdale.
Oh yeah, yep.
And at one point, you catch him a couple events in, and you're asking him a couple questions just about like how are you feeling with the standings, and this and that. And then you just followed him, and you said, a few years ago, there was an incident with you in a ghost bar and your judge. And he's like, and you're like, now, I mean, you look like you're getting along great with your judge. And he didn't want to talk about it. But you just kept kind of like, you didn't press, but you like you said, exactly. You let him stew on it. And he responded eventually. And man, what he said was so incredibly wise and so misdirected at the same time. He responded with, "You're talking about 10 seconds of my life 4 years ago."
Yeah. And I couldn't remember what he said until you said it. That was so good. Yeah.
My mind exploded when he said that.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how profound that was. I mean, it was just, but as I got older, the way I perceive that now is so, he had 50% of it, which was the notion of, hey man, we should not define people about a few moments in their life years ago. And that's what we see with cancel culture, right? They bring up a tweet from 10 years ago or all that bullshit, right? You don't define somebody and their character and who they are by old times. We have to assume, or at least give the benefit of the doubt, that they've grown, right? And I also think it's incredibly important for you as yourself to look at those moments in time years ago and understand that that is a definition of you to some people. And so how are you not going to let that be created again?
Right. Oh, yeah, right.
So you have to, other people
and he seems to have done that.
Yes.
He's a remarkable human being.
Yeah.
He is fucking remarkable.
Yeah.
He used to be so fucking hard. you know he's a fucking fighter. He's a killer inside.
Yeah.
And now he's soft.
Yeah.
He soft isn't the right word. He's supple now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that didn't come without work.
Right. You can tell he's worked on a lot.
Holy shit.
And even then at that moment, like I said, that response is perfect. From outsiders' perspective, we should not define anybody by a moment in time years ago. But within ourselves, we absolutely should, and go, okay, I'm defined by
I like that.
every moment, because it shapes who I am as long as I'm willing to recognize that moment. Naming is the origin of all particular things. Name those things in your life. They're there.
Wow, I've never heard it used like that. Fuck, that's good. Wow.
But they're there, like you
Yeah,
have to.
yeah, yeah,
and it takes.
yeah.
It's hard. It's so hard to go within yourself because it's a dark place. It sucks in there,
But it does get better. It
Yes.
does get better. It gets so much better.
Yes, it absolutely. The other side of it is just, man, it's indescribable.
I was probably in a really dark place when you're 27.
Yes.
Yeah, I was probably starting to go. I was probably in some pretty dark places at 27. Some pretty dark places. Not like dark, like as in like fucking like what it's like growing up in Sudan or Somalia. Not like fucked up like that, but just in my own personal head, the demons in my own head were fucking loud and not even bad. There's different degrees, right? My motherfuckers were just loud.
Yeah.
Louds, but there's some people who got like, like when I hear like Bart Simpson told me to kill my family, I'm like, oh fuck. You know what I mean? Like, like I didn't have no shit like that. Right. It was just fucking loud. There was no escape. There was just no escape. I I was trapped in there.
I think my brain, I don't know what it does. It just goes. It's just like, if you put like $10,000 in one of those money counters and it's just like,
yeah.
That's my head all day thinking about everything. It's weird, and it's been this way for as long as I can remember. But I just
that goes away in the ring. That goes away in the ring.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. That feels like you're watching what?
I feel like I'm watching a different movie than everyone else.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I think I see everything completely different than anyone, because I'm processing simple situations, not even mine. They could just be whatever, and watching a movie, or it could be out, two guys arguing on the street. It's like the way I process it and take it is just, it never ends. The way I process like traffic and being cut off in traffic, and when that subtle like urge to be mad like comes in, I go, whoa, what was that? Like why did that even come in? And so I have to unpack that and figure out, okay, what was happening beforehand? Why am I seemingly like, a bit shorter fuse today than normally? And then I can, as I follow that trail down and continue to extrapolate, I can pinpoint a reason why, and I can mitigate it from happening in the future. So now It's not a matter of holding your hand to keep you from flipping off the guy, but it's a matter of even letting it bother you in the first place.
Right.
And it's taken years of practice, years of those thoughts. That's the practice, and it all stemmed from a dark place that, I was dragged out of by a few good people. And when you have a brain that goes like that, it gets dark. What
do you mean we dragged out? How did someone help you from that?
My dad called me a pussy.
Uh-huh.
I was living in his basement, and I had no direction or anything, and I thought I knew a whole lot of things, and I was slapped in the face by reality that said, you don't know shit, motherfucker. And just everything was taken from me. And that was due to my doings. It was a poor mindset that really culminated all of it. I had this idea when I first moved out here, which was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. that I wanted, you know, be a CrossFit Games athlete. I wanted to, I just wanted to change it up. And I knew that with the change up of where I lived, I could focus on CrossFit. I could live with the old man for a couple, you know, for a couple months until I figure out how to, you know, get on my feet. And then, you know, as soon as I moved out here, I went to a gym and I met a girl and, you know, fell in love with her. And I was so misguided and so misdirected that I became pathetic because I was so wanting this fallacy. I was chasing this fallacy that was disguised as destiny in my head. You know,
Right.
It was disguised as a prophecy in my head that I was going to be this CrossFit Games athlete. All the while, I didn't have the work ethic, you know, to make it happen. And I didn't have the wherewithal to make the sacrifices of working a full-time job. I didn't want to work. And it was just, it affected me in the gym. It affected me in the relationship. And I became someone who I don't even know who that person is. And I was never that person before, I don't think, but I became like self-loathing in my own head, not overtly, but in my own head, I was like, man, I hate work. I hate, you know, just looking forward for the weekend. And slowly but surely, I just crumbled as a person. And I became resentful and I became negative in others' success. I became negative in other people who had it figured out.
Yeah, that's a bad trap. That was an awakening moment for me too, when I realized, wow, I remember exactly where I was. Resenting other people is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
That went away in a moment. I was so lucky when I realized that. Be happy for other people.
It's the grossest feeling, you know?
Yeah. And you don't even know most people. And what's crazy is most people are like that. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's why they're not successful. That's why they don't have what they want.
From being successful in that moment.
Yep.
And you know, so
your dad called you a pussy and that whole bubble just popped?
Well,
You're like, he's right?
Yeah. I mean, because it was when I moved out here, I met this girl at this gym and I made a bunch of friends by proxy of her and the gym. And when she dumped my sorry ass, you know, they were her friends. So I all of a sudden had no friends, no gym, and not to discredit the gym. They welcomed me, you know, but I didn't, you know, I made those choices not to talk to those friends anymore because I felt like I didn't want them to feel weird. I didn't want to go back to the gym and see her. It was too painful because we had, you know, there was a miscarriage and that was really hard to deal with. And also an eye opener of like, you couldn't possibly be more unprepared for something like that.
Right.
For meaning a child. The relationship was not prepared because I was not, you know, I was not the right fit for many reasons. And then to think, okay, this is happening and you're knuckling down, you're saying, oh shit. Okay. But it's beautiful. It's awesome. Like, let's go, let's ride out. And then the miscarriage happens. It's devastating. And then you just continue to be shittier because you're devastated and you know, and you're broke and I mean, and then, you become pathetic. And so you get dumped because you're not of the same cloth as this person, you know, and they make the right decision by doing that. And I hope anyone in a similar situation, though you might love someone, fucking cut them out because it's the best thing that's ever happened to me too. And it's the best thing I'm sure that's happened to her, but you know.
You mean getting out of that relationship?
Yes.
You know, I want to go back to what you just said about preparing for a child. My wife told me that before we ever have a child together, that I would have to do a Vipassana retreat. And a Vipassana retreat is where you go and basically you sit for 10 days and you're not allowed to talk or make eye contact with another human being. And when you don't make eye contact with another human being, what happens is you're forced to, we're all just mirrors here. And that becomes very apparent very quickly in that type of setting. And you have to face yourself in a way that most people don't even, I think, even come close to. It's basically like doing fucking 1,000 hits of acid. Unfortunately, the whole Vipassana retreat thing got all fucked up. I would not recommend that program to anyone anymore because they demand that humans take injections now to do that program. But what was fascinating about that program before is they wouldn't even accept money for it. You could just do the program for free. You can just go.
Oh, wow.
Not only could you do it for free, they didn't accept money. You had to do the program. They gave you an envelope, and then when you got home, you could send money if you wanted to. So that way it couldn't be corrupted at all. But obviously it was corrupted. But yeah, it's and there's other couples that I've met, famous couples who I've met them, and they talk about the year or two of counseling they did together before they got married. Now, I don't want to poo-poo that, but I don't think a year or two of counseling before you get married is even close to as powerful as doing a 10-day retreat on yourself before. Because once you can navigate yourself and your own happiness, you can be really, really powerful in someone else's life. And that's what your wife is experiencing when she's around you. There's two things that you're probably doing for her. At least, and my wife has trained me and still trains me to this day to be like that. Create space for her. So when my wife goes in her head, or she's menstruating, or the week before, if she's in her head, that is not a time for me to go in my head. That is a time for me to create space and be responsive and not reactive. Do not engage that person in a reactive way. It's not going to be good. And don't keep her in a box.
Right.
Set my wife free. I don't know her. Don't act like you know me. Try to always let her be free in the moment, and she should try to let me be free so that we can continue to grow. You know, like, and you see couples do that themselves to each other. Well, you always do this. It's usually in the fighting sense. You know what I mean? Or you just expect what their next move is. Just take a step back, take a breath, let them out of their patterns. Don't force them to be this, that act. I don't want my wife to be the fight I had with my mom in the 8th grade over and over and over. I don't want to be the fight she had with her father her sophomore year over and over and over, and reacting those traumas. Like, hey, we got to set each other free. And one person has to become what I call hold the space, or what you were calling responsive, not reactive. So and if you don't do that, I don't think you'll have happiness in your life. You will not.
Well,
I think it's the only way.
Happiness will at least be a misnomer.
Oh, what do you mean by that? Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yes. Happiness will be the Mercedes-Benz that you buy, and the 6 drinks you have before you go to bed, and not like running down the beach being like agape. Are you religious, man? Are you Christian?
I am.
You are, yeah.
Yes.
What thank you for jumping in. Awesome talking to you. I'll be watching the show May 6th, and then I think we should just do like another show, like whenever you're healed up, and just watch the show. We'll have like Caleb or Sousa or Will play it really slow, and I'll be like, wait, stop it. Well, tell us what happened here, Dylan, and you can walk us through it.
Yeah, man, that would be great. I would love. I'm open to anything. I'm open to just coming on here and talk. I'm open to breaking down the fight. I mean, whatever you want, man.
Okay, cool.
I love what you're doing.
Thank you for your support. You've been our greatest supporter. I think maybe Sarah Cox has surpassed you, but besides her, superficially speaking, you have been our greatest supporter, and it's really awesome.
I just it's hard to be on live sometimes and get the donation in. So and then I got a daughter on the way, man. You're not getting $20 all the time anymore.
Dude, but you've done your share.
Hey, man.
Dillon Vowell is fighting May 6th, Aries Fight Series. That's this Friday. Look it up. Do you know what time?
Well, I think the event starts at 6.
Okay. 6 p.m. Yep.
I don't know exactly when I'm going on just yet, but it'll be a couple-hour event.
Okay. And do you know how they watch it, or how?
Yes, Combat Cast TV. Combatcast.tv.
Combatcast.tv. I wonder why they don't get out. What it would take for them to get on cast.tv. I put .com. I wonder what it would take for them to get on Fight Pass, right?
Yeah, I think there are a few organizations that are getting on Fight Pass, but they're a fairly new one, so I think it'll be a while for them. You got to probably show a lot of numbers to get on Fight Pass.
I don't know. I would think they would want everyone, that they would just want to be the home of all that shit. But here it is, Combat Cast .tv, a view tab. No, that's okay. Cool. Well, I'll be watching. I am pumped.
Hey man, can I say
Please,
something?
yes. Yes.
Just to kind of polish off what I was talking about before. I mean,
Please.
the interactions that you have with people and what you have a lasting impact on people. And when I first showed up here, I had no one, and I walked into a gym called Fort Wright CrossFit. The thing that the affiliates do for people is incredible, because when the gym owners and the coaches are just so inviting and welcoming, that if you're in a new place and you're trying to find a group, man, go into an affiliate, because it's just it instantly you have friends, you know. And Zach Watts was training there. And
Oh yeah. How do I know that name? That's a games athlete?
Yeah, he went to the games last year.
Okay.
You interviewed him for like 2 hours.
Oh, okay, great.
But he and his family were so incredibly welcoming. They invited me. I'd been there for like a week, and they were like, "Hey man, you know, it's July 4th. Like, come over to our house and we're having a barbecue and a get together and all that." I mean, that sticks with me when I carry that on, you know, and I go, man, they were so incredibly just. And so what I'm getting at is, I want to do that for people. So I think my interactions that I have with people, I try to do that. You know, I try to be inviting, or I try to be leave some kind of an impact that's worth you know, sticking around in somebody's head, that's positive, right? Like, and Gabe did that. I think Gabe did that with you, and I love, dude, what you have with Gabe.
Oh, he's great.
Oh, dude, you found a freaking diamond. Like, that dude is.
I mean, I told you
everything.
he wanted to sponsor the show, and I said basically like, no, I already got a coffee, dude, and I can't say anything nice about your coffee. And he goes, I don't care.
Yep.
And then I was like, oh fuck. I was like, well, can you send me a bag of your coffee so I can taste it before I say anything about it? And he goes, yeah, but I just want to send you money though, because I don't want the show to go away. And he was actually right. Like we needed the money. We need the money.
Dude, he's just purely just in his
oh, this is the wrong cup. I thought this was my Paper Street cup. But yeah,
he's purely invested into what his business is, and he wants his business to be him, right?
Yeah.
And
his coffee's great, and he roasted himself. Sorry,
you know,
just have to say that.
I reached out to him, and I wanted to get him in touch with Taylor Starling, the bare knuckle fighter.
Oh yeah.
I've tried to get you in touch with her, but you ignore me. So
yeah. No. You actually hooked us up, and her and I started DMing. I just wrote her name again.
Awesome. I love to hear that.
Yeah. Is by the way, is this Fort CrossFit? Is this in Northern Kentucky? Was I on the right one?
Yes.
Okay.
Zach Watts actually owns his own affiliate now.
Oh, what's that one called?
CrossFit Illuminate.
I need to see
like a light bulb because Watts, you know. It's a great name. It's a great place. I've worked out there. I had him put me through a freaking 40-minute soul snatching thrash fest. I wanted to do something different for camp.
Oh, this is who's his girlfriend?
Bailey. I don't
Bailey Rail.
Maiden. No, not Bailey Rail.
That's Tyler Christophal's chick.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, okay. I recognize Zach now. Fuck, my memory is bad. He's a hoss.
Dude, he's so fit. He's huge too. Like, when I stand next to him, I feel puny. Like, but yeah, Fort Wright's great too. I mean, Stephanie Stark and Kyle Stark. Kyler was a teams athlete, I think, in the games back in the day. They were amazing. Just
okay.
Incredibly grateful for those experiences.
Hey, you know what's interesting? When I think of CrossFit versus UFC or fighting, I would always say fighting is harder. But you said something today that made me realize CrossFit's just different. Like it's kind of hard to compare the two because anyone can fight. But not everyone can do. But anyone can, and everybody does. on some level, verbally, on behind their keyboard. But like everyone can, but everyone doesn't do CrossFit.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you wanted to pursue your UFC career, you could stay delusional longer. I don't know if that's true. There's just something different that has to be explored on a different show. It's just interesting because you can just go out in your yard and like just start punching bags and shit. But like if I have you do Fran once, there's a chance you might never want to do it again. Then again, if I punch you in the face, you might never want to be punched in the face.
That's
again.
that's how Greg said to define CrossFit. He said you don't tell them that it's constantly very functional movement. It's, you know, you don't say all that. You put a barbell in their hand and tell them to do Fran, and then when they're on the floor, you know, trying to catch their breath and dying, that's when you tell them like, hey, you know, that's CrossFit.
It.
Yeah, that was at one of his seminars he did a while back that I saw on YouTube. But Gabe, when I reached out to Gabe to get him in touch with Taylor because I wanted to figure out a way to garner him some attention, you know, not that he needs me to do it, right? But I was just like, that would be a cool link. I know she's going to be fighting for the title here soon, and she's got a big fan base, so that would be cool, you know, to see him, you know, have his logo on her, you know, and the dude reached out back to me and said, I want to sponsor you too.
Wow.
And I was like, dude, I'm nobody, dude. I'm not asking for money or anything. I just want to wear your brand. I don't, you know, and he was like, no, I definitely want to send you money. I'm going to hook you up with coffee, all that stuff. And I couldn't believe it. He's freaking amazing, dude.
No wonder I haven't been getting as much coffee. You're getting my coffee. Hey, when is she fight? So she's 3-0 in bare knuckle?
Yes.
And when does she fight for the title?
It's a big, I think it's a big fiasco right now. I don't really know. I know the title holder was wanting her, but BKFC was like, maybe get one more. So she's been going back and forth with another girl who could possibly be fighting for the title, but she just attacked her and took her belt. So I think she's looking good for the next prospect to fight for the belt.
Okay, I'm gonna let me see if I'm seeing if I've DM'd her before. All right, no messages popped up. I'll DM her now. Oh, do you follow Josh Emmett?
Yeah, I do actually.
I had him on the show, and I thought he would be a good fight for Volkanovski instead of the Korean Zombie. But it looks like I think he's fucking 11-0 or 12-0, and I think he's gonna fight Calvin Kattar in June. And if he wins,
oh, that would be a great fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great fight.
Very high volume fight for sure. And those boys can crack, both of them.
Why didn't you watch the fights last night?
I was helping a friend
to your fight. Oh, okay.
No. Actually, I dive into fights because they're scary. You know, you have random bouts of nerves, like adrenaline dumps throughout the day, and I think it's important to sit in those and let them come in and go, okay, what is causing that? And it's typically a fear of, or I guess the thought of like getting knocked out instantly or whatever, or like you're just thinking about it for a couple months, you know? And so instead of straying away, I just watch as many fights as I can because it makes my adrenaline pump when a fight comes on. Because you're just thinking about it even more. So it's like, let's ramp it up to 11 and really dig into that nerve, you know, into those nerves. That way we can control them and mitigate them. We still want them, right? We want a healthy amount of them though. And so what I'll do is I'll watch every UFC fight, you know, and that comes on throughout camp. But the scarier ones are the amateur fights because those are more relatable to me, you know, on where I am. And when you see somebody get knocked dead in an amateur fight, with the UFC, it's a bit of a detachment, right? It seems like it's so far away that you're like, yeah, the highest level, that's what happens up there. But when you see it on the lowest level, you go, fuck. Like that could be me, you know?
I'm feeling you on that. I'm totally feeling you on that.
I dive into those nerves, man. I like exploring them. I like exploring my emotions.
Well, you're going to be so happy when you watch the Rob Font Cheeto Vera fight.
I heard it was great.
It was insane.
Yeah, those guys are killers.
What's crazy is just how good Rob Font is, and that Chito Vera and Jose Aldo now have withstood the storm that is Rob Font. I mean, Rob Font is so fucking good.
Yeah.
And for those two dudes to come out, I'm assuming Chito Vera won. I started the podcast before the fight was over.
Yeah.
It was over, but I didn't get it. Went the distance. Did he win?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I think so. I mean, I saw a post from him that was him kneeing Rob Font in the face, and then another one getting up off the top. It looked like he won. It looked like he smashed him in the last round.
Dude, Rob Font punched Chito Vera so fucking hard so many times in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Font's jab is nuts.
He's great, and what he's got at that gym there, he's cultivating. I mean, these athletes that are they're.
Who is that? I've tried to get the guy on the show. Who's his coach? Tyson Chartier?
Oh, is it? Yeah. That sounds right. But
yeah.
You know, he's got Cater there. He's got Moutinho. Like they can breed Moutinho to be just as savage as they are. You know, and like they're a different breed. It seems like, you know, they have a certain level of grit and toughness to them. That's really beyond reproach, because you watch any one of them fight and you go, holy shit, like they don't stop.
Like Cater and Holloway was absolutely batshit crazy, right?
Yep.
Probably the most memorable fight I've ever seen.
And then he comes back from that when everyone's doubting him, and he smashes everybody's nightmare in Giga Chikadze.
Oh, that's right. That's
Destroyed
right.
him because he executed his game plan perfectly. And he was like, y'all must have forgot who the fuck I am.
Right.
You know?
Oh shit. Look at this. Oh shit. Alexis.
Hello, I'm so sorry. I did not receive. I don't know why WhatsApp maybe is glitching. I just like I was looking at my phone and I received the WhatsApp like message like on my notifications. Like I was just on my phone and I received it like boom, like. I don't know why. I see that you send me a message like 2 hours
Don't
ago.
worry. We have to reschedule.
So
ladies and gentlemen, what a fascinating thing. We have Dillon Vowell on, who has a fight on May 6th. We'll all be watching at 6 p.m. And we have our guest, who is supposed to be the guest for the show. We watched all your videos in the first 6 minutes of the show. Alexis Landau. Don't worry. He's from France. And he's the urban climber, and we will reschedule with Alexis. Thank you. I'm just glad you came on. Alexis, don't trip. Dude, don't even trip. We had a great show. I will check in with you guys. I'm going to talk to you after the show, so don't go anywhere, Alexis. I will see you guys tonight when we have Primetime Alex Stein on. That's going to be a wild show. I hope a bunch of you guys will call in. I'll have Matt Souza doing